Well, look who's back. We were getting worried about you, Ken. Ken's back there. He disappeared, and we have found him now, and that is a good thing. So we will know now that there will be news, because right now you guys are like, I don't even know if there's news. No, there's news, and Ken will get it to you. We promise you that. Epstein thing's not going anywhere, and some people don't want to hear that. Trump jacked the pooch on this. He messed up in a major way. They have not been smart about this. And we can sit here and pretend a lot of things. Well, what about this? What about this? No, here's the thing. Dude, you knew him. You guys were friends. Okay. You're friends. This right here is something that a lot of the base is paying attention to, and they want. Older voters and certain voters who have followed Trump the entire time, who are Trump supporters through and through, they're okay with not hearing everything. But we need to hear everything. They have failed by coming out and handing everybody the ridiculous notebooks. They spent years talking about it, talking about the deep state, talking about all of this stuff, talking about everything that you could think of when it comes to the island and who was there and all of this stuff. They did that to themselves. And there is a lot to ask questions about. And once it went from one track, the political track, to the pop culture track, it was all, Trump couldn't control it anymore. And the way that he's acting isn't somebody who doesn't look guilty. And I don't think Trump's done anything. But I will tell you, if that was anybody else, you'd be like, oh, that person feels like he's a little guilty. He's not acting. Nobody acts like that. If they, do this or do that. Optics matter. They do. You've got Tim Burchett out there. And Tim has been, first of all, talking about, the God thing, even today, about his maker and all of that stuff. It's, there's a lot of Republicans in the House, some in the Senate, that are curious about this.
If President Trump himself were to call you and asked you to just put this fight aside, what would you say to him?
Well, I've said it publicly and he knows it. Ultimately, I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one. You don't see it on my bio or anything, but ultimately I'm going to answer to my creator, ma'am.
And answering to your creator, he feels like the whole story should be out there and we should protect everybody. And he's not going anywhere. Nobody is moving away from this. And going away for several weeks isn't going to change the way that people are curious about this. Telling people you kind of knew him, but you didn't really know him, that you didn't go on his plane, all of those things. And then you find out they did. That starts to put a seed of doubt out there. And then telling everybody to bob and weave this way. No, you should have come out and just owned it.
It's going to cost me at the ballot box. It's going to cost me financially. It's going to be tough to raise money if this thing, when people start getting after me on it. But, I'm a big boy, ma'am. I got to take it. So, and this is something I didn't ask for, but I'm very passionate about this issue, ma'am. I'll just leave it at that.
And I love the fact that he's open and said today, those are the least of us. You're going to treat them that way. That's the way you're essentially treating God, the way you look at it. And he said, kids are the least of us. They're the weakest. This isn't liberal rhetoric. This isn't. Somebody's like, oh, your typical liberal rhetoric. No, this was a failure by Trump in the way to handle this, and Bondi, and then trying to tell everybody else there's other things over here. Don't focus on that old thing. Focus on this old thing. America can do both. And I've always said, I don't think Trump's involved in anything, but he's acting like that. If that was anybody else, if you guys can, take your politics and your identity and everything out of it and say, if that was somebody else that I knew who didn't want any of these things to come out, and is deferring to things that he knows is, oh, we'll go to the grand jury, we'll do this or that. Well, what about, Maxwell? They're going to talk to her. Yeah, but you know what? It's too late for that. They should have talked to her years ago. Why they didn't is beyond me. But you're going to go talk to somebody who is going to do what? Tell her attorney, find out what I need to do to get out of this. Find out what I need to do, what I need to say, who I need to protect to get out of this situation.
I would call her a transactional person. In other words, she's looking out for what is the best for her. You're not going to appeal, I don't think, to her, altruistic side, because I don't think that's how she's made up. And so it's going to be, what can she get out of this?
Yeah, because you're singing. He's dead. She thinks the immunity thing that they got in the last deal for all of that deal, the first one he got, should have covered her for this. Let her rot in hell. Based on the stuff that we know about her, sorry, you shouldn't get out. And yeah, it's a passionate thing for me. I went through this as a child. It's horrific to think that this is somehow okay and that nobody needs to know about it. And that maybe, just maybe, by the way, as all of you sit here and go, you liberal, you should be on CNN. I have news for you. Okay, as you sit here and talk that game, so you're okay with all the stuff that's happened? What about if there's other powers that be that work for other countries that have stuff over our leaders that can get us to do things that go against the best interest of our country because they need us to? You're okay with that? You're interested in something as long as it doesn't hurt your identity or something else. This isn't about you. It's about justice for people. It's about creepy, nasty old men who took advantage of situations and young girls. It's about human trafficking. And if you're there going, well, this is a nothing to see here thing because I don't like the way it makes my guy who I really like sound, that's a him fault. The hell was he thinking? If he would have come out and said, the easy thing, he should have come out and said, you know what? I knew Jeffrey for a long time. And for about 15 years, we were really good friends. I was in his wedding. We went places. I think at the time he was married to, was it Ivanka or whatever? And we were good friends. We were, And then we had a falling out because he wanted me to look at a piece of property. I went and looked at it. Then I realized maybe I liked the property. And then we got into it over a real estate deal. And that was 2 years before he ever got arrested and all this other stuff come out. But I hadn't talked to him since then. What happens? You've already let it out. So there's no reason to harp on it. We can have the conversation about Obama and all that stuff, just like we can have the conversation about this. And no, I think going to meet her, it's at this point in time, okay, but she's only going to sing if she thinks she's going to get something out of it.
Everybody that he interacted with, all of the lavish parties with allegations that of the sex at a number of those, and she's going to know who's who. So, it's on some levels, be careful what you ask for, because she may well tell you things that the president may not want to hear.
So that's true. And everybody's like, oh, you sound like a Democrat, all of you people. I was talking to Dan about this today, and he's like, yeah, if you want to talk about this, this is a big story. You got to talk about it. No, I don't sound like a liberal. I sound like a person who understands, who gets things like what happened to those girls. I sound like that because that happened. And you should be pissed too. Well, if the Democrats had it. If the Democrats had it, they did have it. How do you know there's not a whole bunch of things in there that would also point to their side of the aisle? That maybe there are people serving today, huge donors. So just because you've got something, trust me, if you leak one thing, you'd have to leak them all. And I've never once said I thought Trump was involved in any way, shape, or form with anything untoward. But when you run at, it can only be this, it's only my side doesn't do anything wrong, that's crap. You made a promise, and you're not keeping it. And if you want to talk about the deep state, the potential of us using our intelligence agency, maybe even going rogue to pimp out young girls to help get information on uber successful people and leaders of the world to maybe hold over their head, I mean, that's a pretty deep state kind of thing. And we should want to know that. But some people don't because they feel like they're going to be in trouble or your hero's going to be hurt. Like I said, being inside, there's 300 plus names inside of this thing. Probably more. Just because you know them doesn't mean you did anything. If you took a picture with O.J. Simpson, it doesn't mean, oh, by the way, that you were also involved in that. We talked the other day, you meet how many people on average? They say, 70,000 people on average over your lifetime you'll meet. Some of them just crossing paths. Others you'll meet and spend a little bit more time with. And the 7 to 10 people will make an impact on your life. Because you met somebody doesn't mean that you're guilty of something. But this isn't going to go away. And we should talk about it. And it should be important. Because it also involves our intelligence agency, potentially. It involves a guy that got sweetheart deals. In ways that nobody, I mean, we sit here and talk about immunity deals. My goodness me. Think about what he got for what he did. And it feels like you're covering stuff up. Two things happen. Even and I'm not saying, look, Trump may know, look, there's several people on here I know that give big dollars. And they're big donors and they're big money movers. And they've got this and we won't want to expose them. That's just as bad. Put it out. And no, don't fall for the, well, we got to cover up. We know what you have to do. Don't show anything lewd and horrific. And don't put the victims' names out there. Everybody else can kind of figure out what it's about. Coming up, we lost a legend today. We lost the legend for a little while because Ken wasn't here. And I had to do the news, Ken, which was awful. So don't ever do that to me again. He is back there, though, right? I just want to make sure. Ken's back there? All right, cool. So we got the news coming up. Got a bunch of other stuff as well. We'll talk a little bit about South Park a little bit later as they continue to whine about Colbert missing the point that South Park doesn't care, and yet they work for the same company. Talk about that as well. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. They need to get that done. That is, And I have issues, Bibi Netanyahu, and the minute you bring it up, it's like, oh, you're anti-Semite. No, part Jewish. So not. Israel has every right to defend themselves. Friends and family over there, they're all exhausted. They're all tired. They're over it. They're not happy with Bibi at all. They feel like Bibi is pushing something that is ridiculous at this point in time, and that there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. He won't even do interviews really with anybody over there. I mean, he was on a show called the Nelk Boys. So if you don't know who the Nelk Boys are, they have a podcast. Like they got like 10 million followers. I mean, they got like 2 billion views. They're doing okay, but they're kind of frat boys. And he goes on the show, and they ask weak questions. There's zero pushback on him at all. He blames everything on the media and everything else. And of course, the things that you would expect him to do. And they didn't even know what to do with it because they felt it was bad. And mind you, these are two guys. Their thing is where they're mostly pranks. I mean, that's kind of the thing that they're about. So it'd be like, Logan Paul interviewing somebody. And they got to a point where they asked him about, like, the famine. And, of course, that's always blown out of proportion, and everything's Hamas.
Why do they say Israel's, like, starving the people of Gaza?
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food, takes the good chunk for itself, then sells at inflated prices They jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population, to its hungry population, if they give them at all. And then use the money that they take from their own people to recruit more killers into their terror machine. That's what happens.
Did it happen before? Yeah. Does it happen now? Here's the thing that it's tough to do in today's world, to hide things like what's happening. Because, first of all, AI is crazy, so you always have to be wary of that. Secondly, there's cameras everywhere. The famine over there it's real. And this is not something that has happened over the last couple of weeks. This has happened over the last several months. And Hamas is beaten down. There's not a lot of people left, not a lot of men left. You've got to do something different. And that's where I'm hoping Trump comes in and does something different. You know, the whole joke about him building, all that stuff there. And that shouldn't be a joke. They should turn it into the Qatar of Gaza, a new Qatar. They could turn it into the United Arab Emirates. They have everything. They're on the beach. It's gorgeous. It's all of the things. And you're going to have to think outside the box to fix this. But you bombed a church. And then you tried to play it off as if there was a person in there that was part of Hamas, which, by the way, pissed Pope Leo off. He kind of had to come out of his little vacation to say something. He wasn't thrilled. And when you start seeing people over at the Daily Wire going, all right, this was a bridge too far. This is this right here. And as a human being, I have a 6-year-old, soon to be 7-year-old. Seeing little kids starve, I don't need to see it. Hamas is horrible. They're awful. They should be eliminated. We can all agree on that. But at what point do we say, all right, there's got to be another way? You've done this. You've beaten them. There's no doubt. There has to be another way outside of this. Because much like, look, perfect examples. We're really good at getting in war. We're great at it. And we're great at fighting it and breaking things. The getting out thing has always been tough. We did it really well in World War II because they got out. We helped rebuild. We put people on a different path, which you would like to think they have a Marshall Plan there. But you won't answer any real questions. And those guys, they did the interview. Then they didn't release it for a couple of days because they were worried. Then it got out and they got destroyed. Then you come to find out that their questions were actually written up for them, scripted for them. We got to do better. People of Israel are tired. They don't hate the Palestinians. They want this done. Oh, you have some Zionists out there that would love to, go from the river to the sea. And at any given time, Israel could have. We stop a lot of that. But there has to be a better thing because we spend a lot of money on Israel. And we need to figure this out. I don't want us to be the killing machine for Israel. Protecting is one thing. Fighting back and protecting your land is another thing. Is one thing, but another thing is at this point in time is what's the end game in this? Which very rarely people ask at the beginning of anything is, okay, well, what's our goal? Our goal should be peace. Tell you what, if Trump brings peace, and he's a big player in that, and bringing peace in particular to that portion of the region, he deserves 10 Nobel Peace Prizes. Which they'll fight him on all the time. Because you and I both know that's such a political thing. There may be very few global political things as far as organizations like the Nobel folks. Absolutely. All right, coming up. A lot of stuff still to get to. We're talking a little bit about Colbert because, of course, he's angry. And, of course, you got The View and everybody else still coming out. There's petitions and all of this kind of stuff. It's free speech. The same company that got rid of him gave $1.5 billion to two guys whose premiere episode, let's just say, makes Colbert look like nothing. It's Chad Benson, Super Talk 99.7.
Talks and recalling its negotiating team from Qatar. Witkoff stated that Hamas's latest response suggests they show a lack of desire to reach a ceasefire in Gaza and do not appear to be acting in good faith. And the hits just keep coming. Pro wrestler Hulk Hogan has died. Medics responded to reports of cardiac arrest at his Clearwater, Florida home. Police and EMTs seen at the residence. Hogan transported by ambulance on a stretcher. He was 71. Elsewhere in entertainment news, jazz musician Chuck Mangione passing away today at the age of 84. Reports say he died peacefully in his sleep at his home in Rochester, New York, and the cause of death, natural causes, according to Men's Journal. And we've learned how Food Network chef Ann Burrell died on June 17th. Today, the New York City medical examiner said it was suicide by acute intoxication from the combined effects of diphenhydramine, ethanol, citrazine, and amphetamine. Burrell was found unresponsive in her Brooklyn home. She was 55. And have you checked the price tag on that backyard barbecue this summer? ABC Sherry Preston has more on what's been costing you more.
Cooking out burgers this summer has been a lot more expensive. Beef prices are moving up into record territory. New federal numbers show the average price for a pound of ground beef is now more than $6, up 12% in a year. The price of steaks up about 8%, helping to drive the prices the smallest American cattle herds in nearly 75 years. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
All right, Louie, you ready to give away some tickets?
Let's do it.
What number caller do you think, Louie? You're going to go to the Williamson County Fair. It's a family 4-pack. What number caller should we do? Should we do 10? Should we do 15? I'm going to leave it up to you. What do you think? Caller?
Let's do 10.
Caller 10 right now. You're on your way to the Williamson County Fair. It's happening the 1st through the 9th. And if you want more chances to win, you can sign up at 997WTN.com/contest and check out your way to purchase tickets, which you should do if you don't win, by going to WilliamsonCountyFair.org. So this whole thing with Colbert is making me laugh. You've got all these people out there screaming and yelling, oh, my God, you shouldn't have got rid of him. You know, the usual baloney that comes with this because it's become political. And he's political. He's ridiculous. I mean, they're upset because, oh, my God, he's gone. He's gone. What do you mean he's gone? They're going to take him off. They're taking him off the air because they're losing money. It's that simple. And he's got 10 months to be all of the horrible things that he wants to be towards Donald Trump. Go ahead and do it. I don't care. But if you think it's only politics out there on the left, you're fooling yourself. And, of course, you've got several people, including the likes of, yes, the ladies from The View, talking about how we should all be worried. We should all be terrified because this is the end of everything and they're coming to take us away. Ha!
It could be financial. And I don't know that it's purely political. It could be. But my concern is if it is political, then everyone should be concerned. People on the right should be concerned. People on the left should be concerned. Because it's very clear that if it is political, this is the dismantling of our democracy. This is the dismantling of our Constitution, right? And so the First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason, and that is freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom to speak truth to power. If that is taken away, if the comedians are being attacked, then that means our Constitution is being dismantled. That's right. That means the very rubric of our democracy is being dismantled. And I think every single person should be really, really concerned about it. I'm thrilled that Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders is asking Skydance, is asking for answers whether or not this was political. The Writers Guild is actually asking the Attorney General to look into this situation to find out if it was political. And if we find out it is political, what are we going to do as a country? We must protect our Constitution and we must protect our democracy.
Well, our democracy is fine. Constitution is fine. Colbert was let go because of dollars. It's that simple. He wasn't funny. They're upset because they love the fact that he comes out and does his shtick. Everything's about how much they hate Trump. Although the good news for Trump is that he also hates CBS now in a major way. And Skydance and everybody else. Oh, and our democracy's gone, and this is all political, and nobody else had this done to them, and they couldn't stand that Trump, really. So last night debuted the, I don't know if you guys know this, the South Park latest episode. Now, South Park is hilarious. I love South Park. It's not for everybody. The one thing I love about South Park and the one thing I love about comedians is more in today's world than journalists. They hold people accountable, especially the power structure. The power structure doesn't like to be laughed at. The power structure hates that. I read this book about Lenin, not John, although I don't know how funny he was. But going back to the days of Russia, he hated laughter. He hated joy, made him hurt. The power structures have always hated that. South Park pulls no punches. So the same guy who's upset that he's going away, because everybody's going away in that world. It's just the way it is. They're all going away. Not because it's politics. It's because even if they were funny, they're not going to get the viewership they need to sustain what it is they have going on. But the same company that got rid of the likes of Colbert has South Park. And their latest show destroyed Trump from top to bottom. I mean, absolutely annihilated him. Made fun of CBS and Paramount, their parent company, for settling with Trump. Made fun of Trump suing everybody. Went after them hardcore. The same day they got a $1.5 billion contract that was announced. It was done earlier because it's revenue. At the end of the day, it's revenue.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. President, sir, the Prime Minister of Canada is here to see you.
Mr. President, why are you placing these new tariffs on Canada? What are you, some kind of dictator from the Middle East?
A dictator from the Middle East? Hey, relax, guy. I'm just your average Joe. Take a rest.
The people of Canada will not be devalued like this.
Hey, come on. You don't want me to bomb you like I did Iraq.
I thought you just bombed Iran.
Iraq. What the hell's the difference? Relax, guy.
They skewered Trump. They had him suing every single person, how he uses lawsuits. They had Cartman talking about the fact that they can't believe that they took NPR and PBS off the radio and television. What are they going to do next? How can the government do that? They made fun of his manhood. They did all of the things that Colbert would probably like to do, but doesn't. They skewered him, but they make money. And money is the big factor here.
Nobody makes fun of me and gets away with it. Hey, Satan.
I don't want to right now.
What? Hey, relax. Come on, Satan. I've been working hard all day.
You haven't been working. You've been doing your stupid memes and just around.
Come here, girl. Come on, Satan. You know you can't resist this.
I can't even see anything. It's so small.
Hey, I'll sue you.
God, you.
Come on, Satan. Don't be like that.
They make money. So if they were to, they started a petition. There's several politicians going, we need to look at this. Congress, you've got better things to do. They just got a massive contract. What they did was way worse in the satire world towards Donald Trump than anything Colbert could do. It's a different world. And Colbert and the way that is just doesn't fit into it. He's horse and buggy, and right now they're a sports car. $1.5 billion, that's good. Let's see. Somebody said, why don't you come out of the closet and say you don't like Trump? I like Trump. I want him to be successful. He's a politician. I don't know him. I like him. It's the funny thing about, like, why don't you, I get this every day. You know, why don't you ever talk good about Trump? I just said he should get 10 Nobel Peace Prizes. He's trying to do something amazing in the Middle East. It's not enough. One person sent something earlier that said Trump is a god that's been sent by America. That's what they sent to me. And I'm like, what the? They sent to America. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's worship. No, he's a politician. I think he's got some good ideas. And I think at times by the Democrats, absolutely, in his first administration, he was handed a bag of turds by the Obama administration. But I'll hold his feet to the fire, just like I did with the likes of Biden. And I'll tell you the truth, which is what you should want. And yeah, even some of you who are going, yeah, I saw the episode. It was funny. It was, because it was funny. They made fun of the settlement. They made fun of the fact that they have to do PSAs on CBS. And next week, you know what? They'll make fun of not Trump, but somebody else that's crazy or on the left or does something stupid. Because that's what they do. Comedy is so much more of a honest dealer in today's world. If you notice, the people that got stuffed moved in the way towards Trump, especially young men. Who was it? Mostly comics who had a podcast, who could be honest and talk about things in a real way. That's what moved that needle. Which I don't think, people are like, oh, yeah. I mean, and they're honest about the way they feel, which is what you should want. I care about America. I care about Americans. I care about us and whether or not our leaders are doing us dirty or in it for themselves, which we kind of know they're somewhat in it for themselves. So those are the things I focus on, and we should. All leaders, you should hold accountable, not just the ones you like or don't like. We should always be going or asking questions. And we've now built ourselves up in this world where our identity is whoever it is that we support politically, which is insane. Which is absolutely insane. That's not your identity. It's like we were joking yesterday about the vegans, right? And some vegans got mad at me. And I don't know why. That being a vegan or a CrossFit person, that's not a personality. That's just part of what you do. And it's the same thing here. It is, and that should be. So, yeah, you know what? I will, at times, criticize Trump, and I will praise his successes. I think he's done some damn good things. The immigration thing is spectacular. The border. And the way that the Democrats have flailed at this going after ICE and making it a nightmare for them to do their job, which in turn causes them to go seek out and find other people that they normally wouldn't be after, at least not at first, because they won't allow them in jail. That is insanity. There's criticism all around. You guys criticize me, as you should. I just want to open your mind a little bit. A lot of stuff still to get to today. Some of you upset with me because I played some of that South Park. Some of you are going, I love Trump, but that was hilarious. They are hilarious. They are. And I remind everybody, for all the Bill Cosby stuff, there was Hannibal Buress who never let it go, the comedian. Go look back and type in Hannibal Buress and Cosby, and you'll recognize him. He never let that go on stage because he knew what was going on, and he had heard stories, and he had talked to people, and he knew people that had, been through the thing, and he never let that go. It was a comedian. It wasn't a journalist, because Bill Cosby won money from a buddy of mine at his station, and who he was thrilled when Cosby got, actually, they settled at court, but when he got taken down, he was thrilled. But Hannibal Buress never let it go. And that's the power of having that kind of voice and being honest when other people are afraid to. Coming up, some good stuff. Oh, wait. Oh, he's back. Hey, Kenny, you okay?
I'm back.
Dude, where have you been?
Dude, I got called onto the carpet.
By who?
I'm just joking.
Do I need to go regulate?
No.
I will regulate. Warren G told me I could.
A great song, by the way. Regulate.
Great song.
Or Regulators.
So Regulators.
Regulators.
Yeah. Warren G and Nate Dogg, they rock that thing.
Yeah, man, I just, it was the monthly meeting that Brother Murphy and I have with our boss.
Okay. Well, tell them no. Okay. I don't do that to Murphy's show. Goodness me. All right. Ken is here. We've got news. Don't go anywhere. It's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 997.